What's going on, football fans? Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you are in. I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy, and welcome to Thursday Night Gridiron here on the Sports Insanity Network. And I am joined by my good friend, the president of the network, and he has finally risen from the tomb.
Well, I've risen a few times this.
You were here last week, to be fair.
I was here last week, so I'm doing good so far this month. I've made an appearance this month, at least on one show, and who knows? I'll probably go back to sleep after this.
We're only 3 days into this month, so
hey, we're winning somehow. I'm batting 333.3 right now.
Oh, Lawrence Patchman winning. We got Lawrence Patchman Lang here, the president of the network, and dude, we got a nice, wholesome game of football to talk about tonight, don't we?
It might be good. It might be bad. Might be decent. Who knows?
You don't know. Have you noticed this is the third consecutive divisional game in a row?
Got to give the people their money's worth.
2 weeks ago, we had Jets-Pats. Last week, we had Giants-Cowboys. And yes, Mark Olasky Halpern rubbed that in my face.
Well, we knew the Giants weren't going to win.
But hey, you got to give them credit. They kept it close. They made it
Malik Neighbors kept you in it. We'll put it that way.
And tonight we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. If you know that reference. How much you want to bet I'm probably one of the only people who knows that reference?
Probably just you, my friend.
I guess how that makes me feel. It makes me feel smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers routed the Philadelphia Eagles by a score of 33-16. Baker Mayfield, 30 for 47, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Mike Evans, 8 receptions, 94 yards, 1 touchdown, and touchdowns by Bucky Irvin and Trey Palmer. Patch, any thoughts on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Philadelphia Eagles game last week?
It's good to see Baker Mayfield succeeding out of Cleveland and recharging his career and becoming a pirate and stealing wins from everybody and becoming his own Thanos.
Is he going to snap everyone out of existence?
And I think Baker's been on the revenge tour for a while to prove that he belongs in the NFL. So he might snap every team into any. Ooh, that had to hurt over there. Sorry, watching the Mets game too. Sorry, people. Playoff baseball too. But back to Baker. Baker's trying to prove something. So it's good to see Baker doing Baker things like he did in college.
Yeah, it's good to see Baker do Baker Mayfield things. Mike Evans had a good game, got touchdowns by Bucky Irvin and Trey Palmer. And also, on the flip side, the Atlanta Falcons beat the New Orleans Saints 26-22. Kirk Cousins, 21 for 35, 238 yards, 1 interception. And all those touchdowns were from the defense. Your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons-New Orleans Saints game?
I mean, the offense can't get it going. Sometimes the defense needs to step up big time. And hey, Kirk Cousins, we've known for a long time, is going to either play very great football, good football,
or bad football.
Or there's just bad football. And, it's one of those weeks where you just didn't play well. And hey, that's why you play both sides of the game. You got to play the offense, and then you got to step on defense to make sure that you can try to get that ball back.
Oh, absolutely.
Possible.
Absolutely. And now, as we look at the NFC South, which is usually the joke of the NFL, because the NFC South is usually garbage.
It's usually a subpar 500 team getting into the playoffs from that division.
But
usually,
look at the NFC South now. There's only one team that's below 500, and that is the Carolina Panthers, who are we can agree, an absolute joke. We got the Bucs in first at 3-1, the Atlanta Falcons at 2-2, the New Orleans Saints tied with the Falcons at 2-2, and the Panthers at 1-3. So right now, I think the NFC South is going to be a pretty competitive division.
I mean, if Carolina can figure it out with Andy Dalton at the helm, and we saw that Andy Dalton game a couple weeks ago, came in, looked like a new Carolina Panthers team, and they held their own last week. So if Carolina can figure out the little nooks and crannies in the crack in the we'll go the crack in the cookie we'll go with.
Okay.
And the crack in the cookie and try to make sure that that cookie doesn't crumble. Playing words there, my friends. Carolina can maybe, I don't know, chocolate chip we'll go with.
Ooh, you cannot go wrong with chocolate chip.
If they were 0-4 right now, I would say oatmeal raisin, but we'll go with chocolate chip because chocolate chip is a decent cookie. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, depending on what kind of chocolate chip cookie you get from where and what brand or what type of chocolate chip cookie you get from a restaurant, whatever, yada yada. Back on the Panthers, if the Panthers can find a way not to crumble with Andy Dalton, and if their defense can come back together and rally around Andy Dalton, and if the offense can step up just a little bit, the Panthers might win more than 2 games this year. They're halfway there.
Are they living on a prayer?
No comment.
Or do they give Love a bad name?
They probably give Love a bad name. And not Jordan Love.
Anyway, so the NFC South. Tampa Bay Bucks are in first place at 3-1. Who do you think is the biggest threat? Do you think it's Atlanta, New Orleans, or North Carolina?
I mean, it's a coin flip between Atlanta and New Orleans. We've seen it We've seen it many times. Atlanta is either a very hot team or a very cold team, and sinks quicker than the Titanic. New Orleans, on the other hand, New Orleans is in a new era over there in their realm. Derek Carr's trying to figure it out still. So if Derek Carr can figure it out with New Orleans, I think New Orleans holds the threat against Tampa Bay.
I'm going to say New Orleans is the biggest threat because we saw how Alvin Kamara's been doing, and Dennis Allen right now, and I've been saying this, Dennis Allen in New Orleans is coaching for his life right now. He's coaching for his job.
I mean, you get your team to the playoffs. You don't have to win the South. Just get your team to the playoffs, and your job is safe for maybe a half a season next year.
Yeah, like if Dennis Allen gets the Saints to the playoffs, he's good. He is good to go. But no, I think New Orleans is going to be the big threat to Tampa Bay, even though they're still trying to figure things out. But I think they're going to be the big threat to Tampa Bay. Like, look at it this way, dude. If Atlanta wins tonight, Tampa Bay and Atlanta are tied for first.
I mean, we're talking 5 weeks into the season, and yeah, if they win tonight, yeah, they're tied with Tampa Bay for now until Sunday, and they see what happens on Sunday with Tampa Bay.
Oh, Tampa Bay's playing tonight.
Oh, my bad.
Ding.
Dang, who cares?
Guess how much pleasure I had doing that.
Oh, well, I'm the rusty one here. So
yes. Hey, bro, we're going old school tonight.
Yeah, we're going 2013 old school, 2012.
But it was you and me.
Just you and me and talking football for 45 minutes.
BDBR before Danny Boy Reg.
Before Danny Boy Reg.
But he made things better, so.
Yes, he did.
Anyway. So, yeah, I think Atlanta or New Orleans. I think New Orleans or Atlanta could be a big threat to Tampa Bay.
I mean, now, the saving grace of New Orleans is Alvin Kamara, so.
Exactly. Now, let's start talking about the Bucs here for a minute. We've talked about Baker Mayfield a little bit. How has he resurrected his career? Because as we know, he started good off in Cleveland. And remember, Cleveland, we're not Detroit.
You're far from Detroit now, since Detroit has woke up and smelt the roses.
No, I don't know if you ever remember this. There was this old YouTube video from 2008 that said, Cleveland, at least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, I am dating myself right now. Um,
Well, you are 30, my friend. So,
hey, you are too, buddy.
God, I don't feel like I'm 30. So,
Really? How so?
because I have the mind of a 15-year-old from having brain surgery 15 years ago. Just saying. So, makes me feel young. So, I have the mind of a 15-year-old sometimes. So, I can say that.
I think we all do sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm mentally like 12. So, anyway, sometimes, not all the time. Stay young at heart, folks. Stay young at heart. Keeps you going. Um, but no, if you look at Baker Mayfield, when he started in Cleveland, he started off very well and but then he got traded and then he got traded to
On the
and
Panthers.
then he got traded to the Panthers when the Browns got Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And then he got to the Panthers, and him and Sam Darnold, who will, if we have time, we'll talk about in a bit. He competed with them. And then Mayfield, and then it was sort of he suffered an injury, and then he backed up PJ Walker, and then Wilkes said that Walker would be the starter, and then 1-5 he requests released, and then he went to Los Angeles where he played a couple games, and then he went to Tampa. So because Baker Mayfield was probably seen at first as like a placeholder quarterback because this was after Tom Brady left.
I mean, you know, yeah, you come off the high of having the GOAT, and then, you struggle a little bit, and then Baker comes in and it's like, hey, we can do this with me. Hey,
And first he signed a 1-year contract, and then he got the Bucks to the playoffs because they beat the Eagles. That's why I got confused. And now and then they said, okay, we'll re-sign you for a couple years. I think what has resurrected Baker Mayfield is two things. One, unfortunately, this piece is no longer there, and that was Dave Canales, who is a quarterback whisperer, but he's now in Carolina, and we wish him the best in that situation. Um, because they have called Dave Canales a quarterback whisperer, and he's really gotten in, and I think he really broke through to Baker Mayfield. And also, you can't ignore this. Baker's got weapons. He's got Mike Evans. He's got Chris Godwin. I think that's what's resurrected Baker Mayfield. Patch, am I crazy or not?
I mean, when you have receivers that you can get the football to, and we're not playing with, no, I wouldn't say hand me downs, people with not experience in the league long enough, it helps. You have a great coach, you have a good head coach that's there to help you and help you develop better. You got an O-line that protects you. We've seen many quarterbacks that come in the league that don't have an O-line, and they are horrendous, and they crash and burn quicker than the Titanic. I like using the Titanic as a reference because it's still a dated joke, not a joke, dated analogy we can use. I mean, you look at Baker right now in his 10-year with Tampa Bay, 36 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's granted, that's a season's worth to some quarterbacks in the league. But then again, last year he was 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and just over 4,000 yards passing. That's not bad. That's the highest in his career. Most touchdowns since his rookie season in 2017 by one. And, okay, interceptions are interceptions. Unfortunately, we count them against quarterbacks when they throw them, but it depends the way they threw that interception. Was the ball deflected, or was it a blatant, blown coverage, yada, yada. So Baker's doing good right now, and it's good for Baker because I like Baker Mayfield. I was happy when he came to Cleveland because, Cleveland was coming out of that 0-16 season where they didn't win a football game, and it was like, all right, Baker, who's going to be the saving grace to the Cleveland Browns? And then Baker came in went 27 of 4, no, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, third just shy of 38,000 yards passing in his rookie season. And hey, won a couple of games for Cleveland, and then he got hurt. And then, it was the up and down stock market of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. Was Cleveland going to get over that hump, get to the playoffs, go on a playoff run, go to a Super Bowl, possibly win a Super Bowl? Or was it still going to be the Cleveland Browns that we become to love, which is the lovable losers of the league sometimes? So it's good to see Baker once again, resurgence of a career, and looks like, he's out to prove something that he can win the big one if he gets to the playoffs and goes on that run.
Well, you got to look at it this way. And here's why and this is why I'm very impressed. I said an important piece in this was Dave Canales. And, listen, we're 5 games in, so this shouldn't be pounding the gavel, but when a certain piece of a coaching staff leaves that's been essential to that quarterback, some quarterbacks can't adjust to the change. Like, look what happened to Mac Jones in New England. When he was doing okay when Josh McDaniels was there, but when McDaniels left for Vegas, he was all discombobulated. But now, without Dave Canales, I think Baker Mayfield is still holding his own. Patch, agree, disagree?
I agree with that. It also depends it depends what the organization brings in to replace, that coach. Look at Green Bay's defense right now. I use Green Bay as as an analogy here. Get rid of Joe Barry, greatest thing they ever did. Look at their defense. Granted, this past Sunday, okay, give up 31 points to the Vikings, almost came back one, yada yada. But the Packers last season, through the whole season, through the 17 games, 18-game season, only had 8 interceptions through 4 games. 8 interceptions, or if not more. I think they have 9 now. They already beat last year. And it just shows that when you bring a new coach in, or someone that, is going to light the fire under the ass of the players, defenses will get better, or players will get better.
Oh, absolutely. So, anyway, we have been so excited to see the resurrection of Baker Mayfield. Sorry, can't talk right now. But yeah. So it's good to see that Baker Mayfield is back and in that conversation. So, what do you think is the X factor for the Bucks this season?
If you're looking at the Bucks, one factor is you need to keep Baker Mayfield healthy. If Baker's healthy and doing his thing, the Bucks are going to put up points. And you know what? Receiving, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are going to get the ball, see the end zone, get their touchdowns. But I feel, an X factor has to be their running game. It's not. 3 touchdowns through 4 games is, I guess, okay. But then again, you look at Saquon Barkley, and he's already at 5 touchdowns on the season. It's like other players are outshining your running game, guys.
Oh, that hurt, Patch, man. That hurt.
I'm sorry.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you.
All right. Well, if we get taken out for copyright, I'm blaming you. So it's on you.
That's fair. That's fair.
If we get striked for a copyright, that's on you, my friend. But you know what? And you know what? It's the Giants' fault that Saquon left, and they paid the wrong freaking player. Not my problem, not my circus, not my monkeys. You know what? The Giants can continue to be a dumpster fire of an organization right now. Looking at back to the Bucks with their running game, their longest rushing play of the year is 32 yards. They only have, once again, 3 touchdowns. It's like, all right, well, Bucky Irving and Rashad White have to step up. Okay, Bucky Irving, 35 carries, 203 yards already. Okay, one touchdown. Ooh, where it's like, okay, Rashad White, hey, you got no touchdowns and you only have 115 yards this season on the year with 41 carries. Granted, defenses are good. O-line needs to find the hole for you guys, but the running game needs to step up for the Bucks, and that's their X factor right now. They got receiving down because of their wide receivers, and Baker throwing bombs, Baker bombs,
Baker bombs. We need to
Baker,
make shirts that say that.
yeah, Baker bombs. But the rushing game needs to step up right now, and that's their X factor right now. If you know what, you can throw the ball and catch the ball, but if you can't run the ball, that's going to be a problem down the line.
No, I'm going to agree with you, and also you got to keep hitting Evans and Godwin because those are, Evans and Godwin are the pieces to Baker Mayfield's offense right now for Tampa Bay.
I mean, even find Sterling Shepard.
Yep.
Find Sterling. Find him too.
Find Sterling Shepard. We miss you.
The Giants missed a lot of players that they've unfortunately let go, and that's their own fault.
There's another song I'd break out into song over, but I don't want to get us in trouble again. So,
well, that's on you.
But anyway, but no, I think hitting the receiving game is important. I think Baker Mayfield having to keep this up is going to be super important as well. All right, now let's flip it over to the Atlanta Falcons. Do you think Kirk Cousins puts them over the top?
Kirk Cousins has to stay healthy. Big factor there. Kirk Cousins goes down,
you're screwed. You're screwed-ish.
I mean, you're kind of. I mean, you got Michael Penix on the bench,
Which that was a stupid draft pick. You know it. I know it. Anyone who has a functioning brain knows it.
Well, you sign a quarterback, give him a bunch of money, and then you draft his replacement. It's like it'd be like another analogy. It's like you pay Aaron Rodgers, and then you draft Jordan Love after that. It's like, what do you do? It's like whatever. You know what? If Kirk Cousins goes down and MPJ has to go in, it might be. You never know. Michael Penix could be that situation. When Colin Kaepernick came into the league and took over for Alex Smith. Or no, it wasn't Alex Smith.
Yeah, it was Alex Smith.
Oh, it was Alex Smith. Look at me knowing history, and I can think of that off the top of my head. Came in for Alex Smith. San Francisco went on a run for a while, and my despisedness for San Francisco began. But change it for a different day. But look at Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was just thrown into the wilderness, and hey, man, sink or swim right now. Help us win.
Absolutely.
And look what happened there. They got to a Super Bowl, almost won a Super Bowl. Kaepernick would have been even a bigger star. Probably would have gotten paid a bunch of money. Other things unfolded, and then other things really unfolded after that. But we don't talk about that right now. But
we don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Kaepernick. Did he deserve a second chance? Absolutely. We'll leave it at that. But back to Michael Penix. If he had to come in for Kirk Cousins, I believe the Falcons would be fine with Michael Penix. But we're not at that point right now where Michael Penix has to go in. Kirk Cousins just has to stay healthy, and the Falcons are going to be fine. I see them as a wild card team, but they might win the South, depending on what happens with Tampa Bay and the other two guys and the other two teams in the division.
Yeah, well, I think, I agree with you. Kirk Cousins needs to stay healthy and not get hurt, because ever since he left he left Minnesota, and now, look, Minnesota is, they drafted McCarthy. McCarthy's out for the year, and now they got Darnold, and Darnold is just a monster.
It shows when you get, once again, we will reiterate it. When you find the right coach that can develop you, you could do well. Hell, Hell, even look at Matt LaFleur turning going with Malik Willis for 2 weeks because Jordan Love was out for 2 weeks. Packers could have easily lost those two games, but you have the right coach there. He coached, we ran a run game the first game with him, and then the second game, Malik Willis went all out against his former team. It just shows when you have the right coach, you can throw anybody in there and they can produce and win football games. Look at Bill Belichick when Brady was suspended for the first 4 games. They almost went 4-0. Garoppolo went in, went 3-0. Garoppolo went down, and then Jacoby Brissett almost won the football game too. And the Patriots could have started 4-0 that season. Then Brady comes back, and they could have went 16-0 that season.
That's true.
So unfortunately, Bill Belichick couldn't do anything with Mac Jones. He couldn't, unfortunately, that's the one time he couldn't churn chicken caca and salad.
He couldn't.
But once again, like I say, you need the right coach to develop you and help you win.
Okay. Which duo do we like more? Evans and Godwin or Pitts and London?
You mean Cousins?
No, for which receiver
which...
duo do we like better? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin or Kyle Pitts and Drake London?
Oh, it's the Tampa Bay duo. I trust the Tampa Bay duo more than the Atlanta duo because Godwin and Evans will find a way to get open. Because one's always going to probably be, kind of double teamed, and one's going to, you're going to have a defender up with Godwin or Evans, and then one's going to be in the backfield a little bit behind them. But when one of those two breaks free and Baker has the opening where he can throw it, he'll throw it right to them. And I trust that duo more than the other duo. Because Baker's more mobile than Cousins. Baker can be more mobile than Cousins because Cousins a little bit older, but in a league now where you need a mobile quarterback, I trust Baker over Cousins.
I'm gonna go with Godwin and Evans as well because when you look at Godwin, 322 reception yards, 27 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Evans, 214 reception yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Drake London, you got 200 receiving yards, 20 receptions, 2 touchdowns. And Pitts, 105 reception yards, 8 receptions, 1 touchdown. So anyway, I'm going with the Tampa Bay duo as well, Patchman. Thoughts?
Yeah, I
Two
like
big
it.
minds think alike, huh?
Sometimes, and sometimes that's bad.
Oh, come on. Are you and I like the same person?
No, we're yin and yang, bro.
Am I the yin or the yang?
You're yang.
Okay. So, Patchman, what is your prediction for tonight?
I mean, it's weird because, this is probably a coin flip game. This is definitely, I would say, a coin flip game. Granted, you're home against. I mean, Atlanta's home against Tampa, so I guess they get the slight edge with the home field advantage. But I still think this is Tampa Bay's game. Tampa Bay is out to prove that granted, we're still we're 2 years out post Brady.
Yeah.
We're 2 years post Brady. Brady won a Super Bowl, yay. Then lost in the playoffs after that. Boo. But if Tampa Bay can win this game, it's looking good for them going, looking forward because you get back-to-back weeks of division rival. So if you can win, and both games are on the road, so if you can win back-to-back game against divisional, you get Baltimore, and then you get Atlanta again. Then you get Kansas City. So Baltimore and Kansas City is I would say, I give them the slight edge maybe to beat Kansas City over Baltimore because Baltimore's run game is amazing with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And the reason why I give them the slight edge against Kansas City, it seems that Kansas City's offense is a little bit rocky right now. Travis Kelce's not figuring it out right now, and Patrick Mahomes just can't do it all. And eventually the cracks are gonna crack through the ice for Kansas City, and then that might be a make or break week for Kansas City. Granted, that's week 9. And then looking at the rest of their schedule, San Francisco is not doing that well right now. Then they get the Giants, then they get the Panthers, then they get Vegas. 3 teams that are still trying to find their identity this season. LA after that. Then they get Dallas. Dallas by week 16, depending what they're doing. If they don't have the division locked up by then, because I feel they're going to win the division this year. They might be resting players, getting ready. And then you finish out the season against Carolina and New Orleans at home. So this is potentially to be an 11-12 win season for them.
For Tampa Bay.
For Tampa Bay. To me, this is a night to prove that, you can be the division front runner in the South, in the NFC. So my edge goes to Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. And I think the final score is going to be 24-21.
I could
Tampa
see it's either going to be like that or one of the other 2 teams is going to blow at each other. It's going to be like a 32-18 win.
It could go either way.
It's a coin. Tonight's game is a coin flip.
So, since we have time, there's another game we're going to talk about.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Pat, you're stuck. You got the straw and you got to deal with me. Anyway, Sunday morning, the Jets are going to be playing the Vikings in jolly old London.
Oh,
Dun, 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 dun. That's in the public domain, so I'm safe. Anyway.
Save the king.
So anyway, Sam Darnold, and we said this earlier, Sam Darnold is a freaking... Sam Darnold's been freaking awesome lately.
Hey, man, Vikings are 4-0. Granted, last week they almost blew it against, my beloved team. Because my team was playing like absolute sugar honey iced tea on Sunday and decided to play second half football instead of 4 quarters of football. Tangent for a different time. But yeah, Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, 932 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for 4 games. Not bad. QBR, I think QBR is not that bad either. I think it can't be 118.9. That's wrong. That'd be pretty good.
QBR is 70, according to ESPN, 73.5.
All right, then I was looking at something else. Yeah, 73.5. That's 3rd in the league right now. So good for him. And he's 1st right now in touchdowns. He's not tied with anybody. He's all alone at the touchdown helm at 11, which is not bad for 4 games once again.
So anyway, like I said, beginning of, the draft, the Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy. He was out which was going to be people getting excited. And then he got injured and is out for the season. And then Sam Darnold gets the ball. Jet legend Sam Darnold. And then the band's just been tearing it up. So I think right now Jet fans are probably going, why didn't you play this way when you were with us?
She didn't have a proper coach. We'll go with that.
I think Sam Darnold has really just broken through this year. And you know what? And it's something that we just said. Sometimes it's the coach. Because Darnold was there with Adam Gase or Robert Saleh. I forgot.
Adam Gase.
He was there with Adam Gase, who is a joke of a coach. And now he's, and now I think he's very clicking well with Kevin O'Connell. So now flipping over to the Jets. Right now, the Jets are 2-2 after losing to Denver last week. And Robert Saleh is on the hot seat this week. Do you think the Jets can win with Robert Saleh?
Uh, the team needs to wake up and smell the roses. The team played at what? Granted, weather. Well, we'll throw a little bit of weather into that game from Sunday because the field probably wasn't that good, and we already know how AstroTurf favors NFL players. Spoiler, people, it's not good.
No, it isn't.
And as much as I love Aaron Rodgers, he needs to kind of wake up too. Granted, last season happened. Okay, 4 plays in, ACL tear, not ACL tear, Achilles tear. Season over. Comes back. Hey, he's going to turn 40 this year. It's a make or break here for him because we're getting into him being one of the last quarterbacks from the 2000s. I take it back. I think he's the only quarterback left from the 2000s. No, not Bradford. Missing somebody.
All of the biggies.
All the biggies are he's the out of Peyton out of Big Ben, Tom Brady, Eli,
Peyton.
Peyton. He's that last little sliver of one of the greats being left before.
Oh yeah, he is.
For a new generation. And, this is, I think, his right off to the sunset season where he can be like Peyton Manning when Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 50, and we all knew after that Peyton was retiring. He needs to wake up, smell the roses, light a fire under the rest of his team, asses we'll go with, and say, hey, let's get this team to the promised land again and bring some relevancy back to the New York Jets and show that we are a football team that can win the big one. So I wouldn't say it's on a little bit's on Robert Saleh, but some of this relies also on your quarterback, where your quarterback needs to show up and play and do what he is and being that bad man that he was like when he was in Green Bay.
Yeah, and like here's the thing, and here's why, Patch, that Reg and I would get so angry at Aaron Rodgers every time he did something freaking stupid. Like when it was, when he was taken off from minicamp, or when he was that 5 minutes when he was going to be RFK, when there was chance he was going to be RFK Jr.'s running mate.
No, that's just spreading rumors.
I'm like sitting there thinking, when is this guy going to realize, people's jobs are on the line here, including his own?
He ain't going to carry the millionaire. He could go on another retreat and be happy.
I think he needs to go back into the darkness room and do some thinking.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I think they can win with Saleh, but like here's the thing. They need, like you said, they need to light a fire under their asses. And because like I said, like it or lump it, pal. Like it or lump it, my friend. Robert Saleh's job is on the line.
It is on the line. I'm not. It's on the line this season. It's not on the line after this game, but it will be in question that his job will most likely be done at the end of the season if the Jets don't start figuring it out.
Okay, now, what do you think is the X factor in this game for both teams?
For the Jets, it's Aaron Rodgers. Where, granted, he already had, he's five touchdowns, 1 interception, 849 yards passing through the 4 games. But we need the Aaron Rodgers of old, where he's going to come in, he's going to sling the ball like he knows how. He knows when to get the team off cadence and draw the offsides, get the penalties. We need that Aaron Rodgers to show up. Brees Hall also needs to come alive a little bit this game and prove that, he's running back number one still. He has 2 touchdowns, two interceptions, not interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Can't speak tonight either. Oh, long day at work. 175 yards on the year already, 2 touchdowns, as long as being 30 yards. So, I mean, and then if you're looking at receiving, Alan Lazard, Garrett Wilson, on them. Both of them, Lazard, leads the way with 3 touchdowns, and Garrett Wilson has 1 touchdown, but it's on them too to step up big and get open. Break free from coverage, get downfield, try to maybe, you know what? And if you're on the 20-yard line, get into the end zone where Rodgers can throw it to you, because Rodgers will get it to you. You just got to catch the football. Catch the football.
Oh, I agree with you.
And then also, if you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Rodgers is 17-11-1 against the Vikings. So he has a winning record against them. And obviously he knows how to play against the Vikings because he's been playing against them his whole career for 2 games a year.
You know who I think is going to be the X factor for the Jets has got to be their defense. Because to me, they got to stop Sam Darnold. They got to absolutely stop Sam Darnold. They got to cover Justin Jefferson. I think that's going to be the big X factor for the Jets. And for the Vikings, it's actually the one I just said. Sam Darnold, he's been on a tear, and he's got to go on again against his tear against his new team. Against his old team. And I'm sure he could probably say to Joe Douglas, go yourself.
Pitter patter.
Correct. So, what's your X factor for Minnesota?
Aaron Jones. Love Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is such a great running back that, I wish it was him and Josh Jacobs in Green Bay right now. But
Green Bay would be a beast then.
Oh, it was all said in there. We could have cut AJ Dillon. No offense to AJ Dillon. No offense. Could have the best running back duo in the league for the season. Yeah, it doesn't happen. No big deal. Then he goes sign with Minnesota. Okay, I'm fine with that. And you know what? He had a warm welcome back on Sunday because that's what Packer fans do. They welcome any former player back with open arms unless you really did something wrong.
I think that's the Midwestern thing. They're just so nice.
Green Bay's a blue collar town. They love their football team and former players.
Yeah.
Hey, but if you look at Aaron Jones right now, he's averaging 5 yards a carry. He has 321 yards rushing on the season, 1 touchdown. If he can find a way to break free through the Jets O-line, there's no stopping him because he's a beast at running back.
He's a beast.
The Vikings have a perfect combination of running game and receiving game.
So, anyway, what is your prediction for the Sunday London game?
Sunday London game in the morning.
London calling, da 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 da.
It's going to be a jolly good game. I give Vikings are starting the season 5-0. They're going to probably win. If the Jets don't show up, it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be like 34-14, if that. But if the Jets show up, we might see a 28-31 game. If it all depends if the Jets show up and play football. If they don't show up and play football, shut the season down for the Jets. I'm gonna retract on that, but Robert Saleh will be done probably mid-season, not the end of the season. I'll backtrack my statement and say he'll be gone mid-season. And the Jets the Jets do. Everybody gone. Yeah. You hit the reset button, shake the Etch-a-Sketch, take the trash out. You get the analogies and reset. Tank, who cares? Get yourself a quarterback with the first pick in the draft.
I think it's going to be Minnesota 31, Jets 20.
I don't see the Jets putting up 20, but
hey, things can happen.
Things can happen.
Okay, so that is our show for today. Patch, if the good people want to know more, want to know more about us, where do they go?
I mean, there's a God place to go. Follow us here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill there. On X at Insanity Real. Website www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com to keep up with all the blogs, learn more about us, the peeps that run this joint, more about the history of this whole shebang.
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 Is that even a word?
Shebang, probably. I don't know. Go look in the Webster Dictionary, Bill.
Okay.
Other than that, you know the drills, people. If you're all, just follow us. Go find us. Just search Sports Insanity Network. Follow us. You know the drill.
And don't forget to also check out Sunday Sideline Report Sunday morning with the fellas right here. And don't forget Saturday morning, Reg and I are going to be doing a live Bombers banter as we preview the American League Division Series. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. So, from all of us here at the Sports Network, I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy.
Oh, I am Lawrence Patch Van Lang. You know what, Bill? It's the Yankees to lose to get to the World Series. This with the teams that are left in the AL, it's theirs to lose. If they can't find a path to the World Series, fire Aaron Boone finally.
I agree. Totally agree.
I'll leave it at that. Fire Aaron Boone, and you know what you do? You re-sign Juan Soto, you write him a blank check and say, take whatever you want.
So, from all of us here at the Sports Insanity Network, stay safe and take care.
I gotta hit the. I forgot to hit the end here. Oh, I forgot. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. I wasn't.